Hello and welcome to the official Bloodthief mapping tutorial. Let's get right to it. So for those of you that don't know, Bloodthief mapping is done using Broom, which is this software here. It's free and open source, and it's awesome because it's not just used by Bloodthief. It's used by a lot of different games. And so, learning how to do Bloodthief mapping technically gives you a transferable skill, which is pretty sweet. Not only that, there's lots of tutorials on YouTube for it. And so, yeah, this is pretty cool. So first thing that we're going to do is download Broom here. You can go here, download. Takes you to the GitHub page. Just download the latest one. That's going to be this one. I'll click that. I'll save it to my good old fudge drive. I'm actually going to create a folder. Let's call it Bloodthief dev. Throw it in there. All right, let's head down that way. Extract it. And while this is downloading, go ahead and download the Bloodthief mapping resources zip file, which is linked in the description. So let's go into Broom, the Broom folder. Click into games. Okay. Over here, let's go into Bloodthief mapping resources, and we're gonna drag Bloodthief mapping into the games folder for Broom. Bada bing, bada boom. We are almost there. Okay, now we'll click back up one. So we're back at the base of the Broom folder. Just do that one more time. Here we are. Let's open up Broom, the trenchbroom.exe file. Windows protected your PC. Ignore that. Would you like to enable? No. So here's Broom. You're gonna want to hit new map. You should see Bloodthief mapping here because you dragged that folder in. So we're not going to do anything quite yet. Instead, what we're going to do is hit open preferences, and we want to set this path. As you can see, I already did this earlier, so it set this path for me. But what you're going to want to do is set this to the path that is where that folder is. So where did I put that thing? Put it in my PC, fudge, Bloodthief dev, Broom, games, Bloodthief mapping. That folder, the Bloodthief mapping folder that is in the games folder. So mine looks like this. Apply. Okay. And we should all be set up. Now let's go back to the game. So here we are in the game. Let's create a custom map. So I'm going to hit play. Now that you see these tabs here in this new update. So I've created a bunch of test maps here. Let's ignore these and let's hit create new map. I'm going to name my map tutorial map and hit create. So this is just going to basically create a bunch of files for us that we need. I'm going to hit start. And here we are in the stub basically for a custom map. If I hit pause, you'll see I have all these cool settings here basically for my map. What we want to do now is hit open map data folder. If I do this, it will take us to basically this folder that was created for us by the game. I currently have this set up to where if I double click on this file, it's just automatically going to open up Broom, but you're not going to have that. So I'll show you how to do that. So you're going to want to hover down to this open with, choose another app, and you're probably not going to see this. You probably want to click more apps, look for another app on your PC, and then you're going to go to where you downloaded Broom. So for me, fudge, Bloodthief dev, that, open. Okay, so yeah, I open that up, and here we are. Here's the little stub that it created, and we are now mapping. Yeah, so if I create a little wall here, I save the file, we go back here, we can hit this build button, and boom, there it is. There's our map. I'm gonna post a link to this tutorial series right here. This is Dump Truck DS. He has a very, very high quality Broom tutorial series that you can follow. I'm not going to get into that much detail in this video. For now, I kind of want to just give you the nuts and bolts of a Bloodthief map. Let's go ahead and go back to the pause screen. Let's say another test map. specify some metals for it. So we'll say 30, 20, 10, 5 for the God Killer metal. And that is almost it. We'll take a thumbnail screenshot for the map. And that is it. We're now ready to upload to the Steam Workshop, which I will do by hitting this button. Success. Amazing. We have now created our first map. Let's go find it. Okay, so now we need to go to the Steam Workshop and find our map. So if I go to the Community Hub, Workshop, Items, here's our map. I should note that it took a few minutes for it to show up here. You can see I already subscribed. So if I'll just, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And then once you do that, the map shows up in your subscribed workshop maps section in the game. So we have skipped ahead here, and I am sitting in the Time Tomb map file. This is the map file for the Time Tomb level in the game. So this map file is linked below. If you want to mess with it yourself and change things, I think the easiest way to do that would be to just Control A on the entire map, Control C to copy it, and then in the game, just quit to main menu, play, my maps, create your map. I'll just call it Time Tomb 2. And then here's our little stub here. Open map data folder. I'll open up this map file. Control A, delete, Control V to just like paste everything in here, basically. I think that's probably the easiest way to get this in there. That way, all the file references are preserved and stuff. Because I want to keep this video brief, I'm basically, instead of basically going through every little thing in Bloodthief that you can do, I figured I'd just link this map file and let you poke around yourself, because that'll be more fun and it'll keep this video nice and brief. And then, like I said, watch that Dump Truck DS video tutorial, which will give you the Trench Broom basics. But I just want to point out a few things just here in this video that are kind of like an important concept for you to understand. So I just want to talk about it here. So if we zoom through here, I want to show you this door right here. So this door is a VT mover entity. And we can see some very important parameters that have been set on it. For one is its translation. You can see it is its translation is set to 10 on the y-axis. That's in Godot units, so it's going 10 meters up in Godot. If this doesn't really make sense to you, you can also use the TB translation property, which is effectively the same thing, but it's in Trench Broom units. And so Trench Broom is Z up instead of Y up, which is Godot. So the equivalent to this would be 320 on the Z. So these two things are exactly the same. You can just pick whichever one you want to use. But yeah, we'll leave that like that for now. So the way that this is configured is that when this door is triggered, it's going to go 10 Godot units up. You can see we've set this trigger count to 3, and its target name is side door. So what this means is that it needs to be triggered 3 times, and once it's triggered 3 times, it'll go up 10 units. And the way that it's referenced is via its target name, which is side door. And then you can see these 3 little arrows that are pointing to it right here. These are 3 enemies here. And when each of these enemies dies, they're going to trigger this door. We set that up by giving each of these enemies a target property. So you can see the target of this enemy is side door. And so when this enemy dies, he's going to basically send a trigger signal to this door. That'll be 1 signal. Then when this guy dies, it'll be 2 signals. And then when this guy dies, it'll be 3 signals, and the door will open. So that's important concept number 1. I'll just demonstrate that real quick. So I've got the game open right here. You can see it looks a little bit different from the main game if you played this level before. That's because custom maps don't support baked lighting, which the main game uses. And so we're using all unbaked lighting in custom maps. So It'll look a little bit different, but for the most part, it's exactly the same. And here's the door that I was talking about. Killed all those guys with that barrel there, and the door opened. So the other thing that I just want to talk about is lights. You'll need to put lights everywhere in your map, and I just recommend that you look at how I do lights in this level. Particularly the light color, you'll see that it's just kind of this big gibberish of numbers. It's using RGB float numbers. And what's nice is that Trench Broom provides this little color picker thing. So I just want to point that out, that if you want to set the light color, you can just have float selected and then click the little 3 little dots and like move this around, and it will change the light color. So I'll build this map, and actually I guess I could have just done this the first time because I'm in a debug build. I can zoom over there. You will not be able to do this, unfortunately, but look, I just made the light pink. Yeah, so that's pretty much everything I want to talk about for this tutorial. This map should give you an example of most things that you might want to do for a map, but, you know, there will surely be other things that this map doesn't cover. If that's the case, just hop in the Discord, ask a few questions. Everyone's really nice, and we'll help you out. You can also, if you don't have Discord, you can do like a post on Steam, like on the community forums. I'll probably just be a little bit slower to get to that, but I'll get to it. But that's all. Have fun mapping.